Welcome to Ask a Member, a program of the Adrian Area Chamber of Commerce. I'm Ann Hughes, president of the Chamber, and with me today is Ruth Cole, who's the Health Department Court Account Manager from the Kemner-Iott Agency here in Adrian. And welcome, Ruth.
Thank you. Welcome.
So tell us about you. We've been talking to some of our other people we've interviewed today about their career path. How'd you get to where you are today?
Wow. I started in the insurance business working for Rick Gurgen.
Okay.
I was actually a phoner. My educational training is actually in occupational therapy. So I took a total...
So you were a phoner. Is that one of those cold callers that gets on the phone at dinner time?
Pretty much, but not quite like that. I just phoned for 3 of the other agents that he had there. I set up appointments for them. And as I established appointments for them, they asked if I would be willing to do some clerical work as a secretary in the office. So I did that, and I got licensed in life insurance and health insurance, just to make me be a little bit more knowledgeable when I was answering the phone and so on. Well, being that I had my license and I was doing most of the appointment setting, which is the hardest part, I decided to go into it for myself. So I started, and I partnered with one of the managers, who actually today is my husband.
That's what I was going to ask you. I was going to ask you if you'd work with Jim.
Yes, and I would set up his appointments and do the fact-finding interview, and then he would do the closing interviews or the actual sales of the products. So we did that for a number of years until I moved away, and then I moved over to the Kalamazoo area, and I opened my own agency there.
Did you really?
So I had that from, gosh, 1987 to about 1995. I had an agency over there.
And Jim stayed here?
Yeah, we weren't together at that time. And yes.
Inquiring minds want to know those things, you know.
But, and coincidentally enough, I was actually the president of the Chamber of Commerce in Plainville.
Were you really?
I was.
So that explains your commitment and your involvement today.
Yes, yes. And so then, as my life evolved and my children grew up and went to college, Dan Iott, who is the president of Kemner-Iott Agency, was looking for somebody who would sell life and health insurance for him at his agency. The agency is primarily property casualty, and so they were looking for someone who would devote all their time to life and health, and that became me.
And that was where your experience really was.
Yes, and
so
I
sold
started there. 1995. Well, I actually, didn't really have anything to sell because I was renting office space. So I still have several of my clients from over there. I just have maintained the communication and the relationship with them. So I go back there from time to time, spend the day and visit clients, but I work out of Kemner-Iott now.
Okay.
So, and I started doing primarily life, and then health became an issue, and now that I do mostly health insurance, group, employee benefits, and a lot of individuals. So.
And that, I would imagine, these days is challenging.
Very challenging. Yes, a lot of webinars and compliance testing and talking to all of your clients to let them know what's going on with healthcare reform. So yes, it's been an extremely busy summer.
Yeah. Things are changing rapidly, and with what's going on in Washington, not knowing how it's going to fare with the possible sequester and that. It's
yeah, it's interesting. We've put all this time and effort, and the insurance companies have invested thousands and thousands of dollars into having to totally change their product, and it may
or may not happen.
We don't know.
The way that the way that you think it is.
Right.
Is insurance? Is the field of insurance good for young people? Good to look at for a career?
I think so. It's evolving. There is so much more done on the internet now. They have a lot of online sales. we still at Kemner-Iott believe that it's important to build relationship with your clients, and we like to meet face to face, but we do have the ability to sell, on the internet, and obviously our website has links for product quotes and so on, and I think that kind of is good for the young people coming in because they're so used to internet and all the technology and communicating by the media, networks and so on. And so I think that they would be very comfortable in it. So yeah, it is definitely. And there's a lot more independent agents nowadays. It used to be that you were a kind of career agent with one particular company, but now you're finding that agents represent more than one. And so, that could possibly benefit them too in their selection or their choices of what product design they want to go into.
Is it a good field for women?
It is. It is today. When I started, I was one of just a couple, in the office, and in the industry. We'd go to these agency meetings or home office meetings, and might be one of 5 out of 100 or whatever. It was very much a minority, but yes, you see more and more women today, and I think it makes it easier in some circumstances for women to talk to women. You see a lot of women who have very responsible jobs today, who sometimes are the major breadwinners for the families, and definitely take probably the most interest in plotting out the family, their finances and portfolios for the future and so on. And so sometimes they appreciate being able to relate or talk to another woman, just because you seem to have a little better understanding of where you're coming from.
So how many women at Kemner-Iott are licensed?
Oh, let me think. We have, in our Adrian office, we have 3, 4, 5 women right now. Several of our CSRs have designations, but they aren't necessarily licensed to sell. In our Ben's office in Ann Arbor, we have probably 3 or 4 more, and then we have 3 or 4 in our Cassopolis agency.
Okay, so go through the locations that Kemner-Iott has again.
We have the Adrian is our main location. We have a second location in Ann Arbor. It's Kemner-Iott Ben's. It was the Ben's agency which we purchased, and so we've kind of kept that name for just comfort level for the people in the area. And then we also purchased an agency in Cassopolis, Michigan.
Okay.
So
growing.
So growing, yes.
Growing. If you were to give someone, a young woman, a piece of career advice, what would it be? Or what do you wish somebody had given you in terms of advice years ago?
Well, I remember the advice that my dad always gave me, and he said, "Honey, you can do anything you put your mind to." So I guess that's what I would share with them, is if you really want to do it, believe in yourself and go for it.
That's pretty good advice. Any insurance advice for us?
Everybody's going to have to be changing their health insurance sooner or later, so keep your eyes open, listen. I'd be happy to help any that need. We are going to be certified to sell on the exchange marketplace for both small business and individual. And
okay.
So, yeah, there'll be changes coming. Don't throw away the mail that you get from your insurance carrier, because it's probably important information.
Okay. Yeah. And I think it's hard because we don't know what's coming or what the best thing is to do. And Ruth said that she'd be glad to talk with you. We talked with her when we switched insurances a couple of years ago and have been very pleased. And I think everybody's ready and willing to help answer questions and steer people in the right direction. And
we're lucky in Lenawee County. We have some very knowledgeable and very helpful insurance agencies and agents. So
if someone wants to call you, how do they get a hold of you?
265. or excuse me, 517-265-7000.
7,000, right. And of course, Kemner-Iott Agency is located out on West Mall May Street, right before Wesco.
Yeah, we always say between Key Bank and Wesco.
There we go. Okay. Well, Ruth, thank you very much for coming in today. And of course, I should mention too that Ruth is a member of our board of directors and very active on chamber programs too, and we appreciate that.
You're welcome. I enjoy it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ann.